Bollibokka is somewhat of a fabled stretch of river. It can be incredibly beneficial to have a guide from the fly shop come up to accompany a group at Bollibokka, especially if you're introducing people that are less experienced to the water. Most of the guests there spend 5-6 days fishing the club waters, and getting a good orientation the first day or two that they're there really opens the world for them while they're fishing for the rest of the week.
Today we are on the Bollibokka section of the McLeod River, which is the lowest point of the McLeod River that's accessible by man right before it enters Shasta Lake. We're doing a little fishing and we're doing some orientation on the river. We're going to be talking about the different ways to catch fish on this river. A guy can come out here very easily in a day, catch fish on streamers, catch fish on nymphs, and catch fish on dry flies. Okay guys, I laid out a few streamer patterns that I carry up here. We've got a wide selection of sizes and colors. Black tends to be pretty popular. So far today it's working well. But on days it doesn't work, I'll switch around to browns, olive, grays, even white sometimes. Sculpins are a big part of the diet of some of these fish, so we've got a lot of sculpin imitating patterns. This is a really nice small sculpin pattern right here. When that thing's wet swimming through the water, it looks pretty nice. We're going to rig these up on sink tip lines. My favorite is a 200 grain 24-foot tip for getting down deep in some of these big holes. You can use a shorter tip or a slower sink rate in some of the pocket water, but I prefer a little bit heavier rate to get down fast. And a lot of the flies I use are weighted, either with a cone head or weighted before they tie. We don't want a leader any longer than 6 feet. If the fly is far away from our sinking line, our line may sink, but our fly doesn't. So we want to draw the fly close to the line, therefore we're going to be using short leaders on these. And we're going to be looking for deep water, tail outs, boulders, breaking up a tail out with decent currents. I like to throw streamer at lower light conditions. The bottom end of this hole starts to tail out, which means it goes from fairly deep to shallow. And that in turn will condense the food from a 20-foot deep hole to a 6-foot deep hole. And a good mend to the left to prevent a belly forming in my line and my fly swinging out too fast. I want to keep it out there for a while. So a nice little mend. I feel like I'm pretty deep now. I'm going to start my nice slow retrieves. By slow retrieve, I mean a wrist strip. I just move my wrist when I retrieve, feeling for anything. And when I'm fishing a streamer, my rod is always pointed straight down my line, right to my fly. For maximum sensitivity, I can feel everything there. There he is. Oh, that's a good fish. Just got my fish on the reel. I didn't want the line to get caught in the rocks here. Fish is going towards the bank and I see a few sticks, so I got my rod out. There we go. I just brought him back out in the current, away from those rocks. Now he's safe. Fishing 3X tippet out here. When I fish streamer patterns, there's no light line about it. Healthy, beautiful McLeod trout. When I hold these guys, I slip a pinky finger just down from the abdominal fins and pinch the abdominal fins between my pinky and my ring finger. Gives me a good, nice hold. And there he is, beautiful McLeod rainbow. Fishing early morning with a black woolly bugger, a 200 grain 24-foot sink tip. Nice 17-inch fish. So the way I set you up here today, I set you up on a sliding indicator. I use a toothpick. After I thread the indicator on the tapered leader, I use a toothpick to peg it to the line. That way I just pull the toothpick, slide it around, put the toothpick back in. We're going pretty deep here. This is a deep run. So from our indicator down, we're going to be running 6.5 feet to a couple of pretty good weights. Right now we're running 2 ABs. We've got a rubber legs, which is a top producing fly on this river. Basically it's just a stonefly nymph. Below the rubber legs is our additional fly, or our dropper if you will. And in this case we're running a real small October caddis pupa. Any small nymph, like a pheasant tail, a micromay, a zebra midge, a caddis pupa. It's a good choice to run under a big attractor stone like this. And a lot of our bigger fish out here come on this attractor stone. Well, we just walked up real slow. And I know this spot, so I kind of knew to look for them, and there they are. They're here every time I get in here. Try that one. Okay. There, I'm not going to get stuck on the rock. Going to be just on the outside of our target fish, which is that big one sitting down there. We're getting near him. I'm looking at the fish. He's moving. He just ate. There he is. Indicator never moved. I was watching the fish because I knew the flies were right on top of him. The white of his mouth, hook set. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's the one we wanted right there, boys. There we go. Oh, he's a hot one. That's the big one we were after right there. Perfect. He moved right to the fly. I put the fly a little bit on the outside of him, away from the snag, so I didn't snag it. And I saw him move right over it, and I saw the white of the inside of his mouth. That's all she wrote right there. A nice 17-inch trout. Well, guys, it's getting to that afternoon point right now, and afternoon's generally the time that we see our best dry fly fishing. So we're going to go down and fish the bottom end of this flat where it starts to tail out. We're going to be looking for fish rising. We're going to switch our rigs over from indicators to dry flies, which means we're going to be using leaders probably between 9 and 12 feet long, tapering down to about 5X. And I do have a rig set up already with a small elk-hair caddis. Oh, that's the second time I've had fish come to the fly while I've moved the fly. So that tells me they're eating bouncing caddis, or possibly they're taking it as a grasshopper. So I was just twitching it like a grasshopper. Long cast, flies out in the open. That's it's called dry shake. It's basically a desiccant. Removes all the moisture from the fibers of the fly, kind of like a fresh start. After the fly gets waterlogged a little bit, that'll remove all the water and get it floating again nice and high. We'll put a little coat of that powder on there. There's the take, there's the fish. First cast after the desiccant, got the stuff floating good, twitched the fly. The fish came to the fly on the first twitch.